Right now on Hoosier News Source, we'll give you an update on the mold infiltrating even more dorms than ever before.
And Purdue Superfan Tyler Trent's recent death has led Hoosiers all over Indiana to celebrate his life, even right here at IU.
And I have when the snow chances might return, as well as the forecast for this weekend's IU versus Purdue basketball game. Hoosier News Source starts now.
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Hoosier News Source. I'm Andrew Lamparski.
And I'm Meredith Strumming.
Health officials are urging customers of a Bloomington restaurant to get vaccinated for Hepatitis A. Our Allison Witucky is on scene with the details. Allison?
That's right, I'm here at Buffalo Wild Wings on Bloomfield Road in Bloomington. We're told an employee who handled food was recently diagnosed with Hepatitis A. Anyone who ate at this location between January 2nd and January 6th is urged to get vaccinated. The Monroe County Health Department and Public Health Clinic are holding vaccination clinics for those who may be affected. Reporting from Bloomington, for Hoosier News Source, I'm Allison Witucky.
The Chi Omega headquarters issued a cease and desist order to its IU chapter on Friday afternoon. As of Saturday evening, the chapter removed themselves from the recruitment process. In a statement given to Hoosier News Source, Chi Omega's headquarters says, Chi Omega fraternity does not tolerate hazing, harassment, or bullying of any kind and prohibits any activity that endangers the mental or physical health or safety of a person. All chapter activities have been suspended until the investigation is complete.
Now let's take a look at this week's weather forecast with Caroline Clare. Caroline?
Thanks, Meredith. We are not seeing the last of the snow here in Bloomington. There's a low pressure system bringing chances for a rain-snow mix. As you can see here, the pressure system is just south of us, and where we are right on the border of having snow or rain, so we could have a mixture coming our way Saturday morning. And as we progress into Saturday afternoon, we can take a look at what to expect if you plan to travel to West Lafayette for the basketball game. At noon on Saturday, we have an 80% chance of precipitation and 32 degrees. Moving further into the afternoon, 2 p.m., 90% chance of precipitation, and at 4 p.m., 90% chance of precipitation as well. So if you are traveling north to Purdue, the roads may be a little slick. Now let's take a look at what to expect leading up to Saturday. Wednesday, we have mostly cloudy and a high of 37. Thursday, 70% chance of rain and high of 42. Friday, we have mostly cloudy and a high of 36. And Saturday, with that cold front moving in, we're going to have the winter mix of rain and snow with a high of 33 and a 70% chance of precipitation. Moving into next week, with that cold front coming through, there's going to be a slight drop in temperatures. Sunday, it's going to be cloudy with a high of 19. Monday, partly cloudy, high of 23, and Tuesday, partly cloudy with a high of 34. We are officially in the midst of winter here in Bloomington, so make sure to stay warm in your transition back into classes. Back to you.
Thanks, Caroline. You may have heard that both McNutt and Foster residence halls will be shut down for renovations during the 2019-2020 school year. This mold crisis continues to grow as mold was discovered in yet another residence hall over the holiday break.
Over winter break, teams discovered high levels of mold in 19 rooms in Teeter Residence Hall. RPS provided those students with alternative housing for the spring semester, and one of those affected residents explained how she and her former neighbors feel about the situation.
Annoyed, frustrated. They're just like, some people they don't care, so they're just like, whatever, I'll just live here, whatever. But then other people are taking it really serious.
IU spokesperson Chuck Carney says the university is doing their best to provide options to affected students.
Those students were given other places to live, either on campus or they could choose some off-campus options.
The mold and the renovations that will follow have already had consequences for upperclassmen looking to stay on campus in the fall. Over winter break, RPS notified over 1,000 students who had already signed contracts for next year that at the end of the semester, they would need to pack up their things and move off campus.
Well, we have contracted with 3 apartment complexes to provide RPS contracted housing for those students in these apartment complexes.
The university says alternative housing will be provided at a similar or lower cost in comparison to students' previous housing choices. As both McNutt and Foster will be closed for renovation, the removal of upperclassmen from campus will make room for a new freshman class this fall.
While the names of the outside apartment complexes have not yet been released, they are expected sometime this week. Hoosier News Source will continue to provide updates as the story develops. Don't forget to lock your doors. Bloomington police are investigating numerous burglaries on the west side of the city. Numerous businesses on West 3rd Street were broken into throughout the past few weeks. Cirillas, Bucchettos, and Subway were broken into during the week of January 7th. The police say they cannot disclose how much money was stolen at this time and that they are looking into the security footage from each burglary to see if the suspect is the same. For more information about the burglaries or to report something suspicious, contact the Bloomington Police Department. A scholarship for Kelly business students who are LGBTQ+ was just established by a $2.2 million gift. Noblesville natives Doug Hamilton and his partner of 35 years, Don Vosberg, made the donation to support students involved with gender and sexual minority organizations here on campus. Strong preference will be made to students studying decision technologies or business analytics.
One of IU's own and recent graduate, Alexandra Black, was killed on December 30th by a lion. The 22-year-old was from New Palestine, Indiana, and attended school here all 4 years. Black was interning at the Conservators Center in North Carolina when a lion got loose from a locked space that was being cleaned earlier that day, the center says in a statement. The lion was shot and killed after attempts to tranquilize the animal failed. Her family says she died following her passion. Her sister took to Facebook to write a long post about her close sister. From all of us here at IUS TV, our thoughts and prayers go out to Alexandra's family.
Coming up, we'll tell you what's going on around the world with our Global Report.
Plus, we bring you a tribute celebrating the life of a nationally known Purdue Superfan.
These stories and more coming up. Stay with us. Welcome back. Now let's take a look at stories people are talking about around the world. International reporter Larmy Sanian joins us in studio with the Global Report. Larmy?
Thanks, guys. A Canadian citizen has been sentenced to death in China for drug trafficking. The sentence for Robert Lloyd Schellenberg will likely further inflame tensions between China and Canada. The ruling comes as relations have strained between the two nations following the arrest of a senior executive from the Chinese tech firm Huawei in Canada last month. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau says court's decision was of extreme concern to Canada, saying China is arbitrarily applying the death penalty. A diplomatic row is developing between the U.S. and Turkey. Turkish presidential spokesman Ibrahim Kalin said in a tweet Monday that Turkey expects the U.S. to, quote, honor their strategic partnership. That came in response to President Trump's tweet late Sunday that he will devastate Turkey economically if they hit the Kurds. Kalin went as far as saying that there is no difference between ISIS and the Kurds. In a separate tweet, he added that Turkey fights against terrorists, not the Kurds. We'll have more as the story develops. So, the question remains, who exactly are the Kurds? Basically, they are stateless people who live all over the Middle East. In this case, they live in Syria, across the border from Turkey, who views them as terrorists, to the west, the brutal regime of Bashar al-Assad and its Russian and Iranian backers. Kurds helped the U.S. drive ISIS out of Syria, but now the U.S. says it's pulling out troops. Now, after an exhausting battle against ISIS, the Kurds may have to defend themselves against more powerful enemies like Turkey all alone. Finally, tonight, the U.S. and Latin American governments are condemning the arrest of Venezuelan opposition leader Juan Guaido. Intelligence agents stopped his car and briefly detained him on Sunday. This comes after Guaido seen here, said he was prepared to temporarily replace current President Nicolas Maduro. A Venezuelan official says the agents acted on their own, but the opposition calls it a kidnapping. That's all for the Global Report tonight. I'm Larmy Sanian. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Larmy. Tyler Trent, the Purdue University student and sports superfan, changed the meaning of the word strong forever. News reporter Meredith Struing shares Trent's inspiring legacy he left behind.
In 2014, at just 15 years old, Carmel, Indiana native Tyler Trent was diagnosed with osteosarcoma, bone cancer. 9 months and countless chemotherapy sessions later, Trent was placed in remission. Only the cancer returned right before Trent was scheduled to attend Purdue University. Unfazed by the disease's comeback, Trent still attended classes and could be seen in the front row at most home sports games and even camped out before games, ready to cheer on the Boilermakers. In early 2018, the cancer spread to Trent's spine, forcing him to leave Purdue. At home, he was placed in hospice care. Trent died on New Year's Day of this year at just 20 years old, nearly 5 years after his first cancer diagnosis. IU sophomore Hannah Koslow knew Tyler Trent and his family since preschool. Through her and many others' eyes, Trent embodied the best traits a person could have.
Faithful, definitely. Strong and caring.
His charismatic and infectious smile never seemed to vanish from his face.
No matter what punches he was thrown, he always fought back, and his answer to how are you doing was always good, I can't complain. And it's he had so many things that he could complain about. He was constantly in pain and stuff like that. He was like, I can't complain because I get to live another day.
Trent alone raised over $100,000 for Riley Hospital for Children in Indianapolis. He received the Disney Spirit Award and started Teens with a Cause, an organization that recruits kids to do service projects for families affected by cancer. Even on his most painful days, his humor lit up the room.
I was going to visit him, and it was after he had gotten a call from Mike Pence, the vice president, and I was asking if I could bring him anything. He was like, I'm going to have to start charging enrollment fees now that I got the vice president on speed dial.
No one will forget the impact Trent left on this world, nor will they forget the words he wanted everyone to hear. Make the day the best it can be. For Hoosier News Source, I'm Meredith Struing.
Trent's funeral was attended by hundreds in Indianapolis over the weekend. Even after his death, Trent wanted to do as much as he could to spread cancer awareness, so a portion of every purchase of his autobiography, The Upset, will be donated to cancer research center in his name. That's all we have for you this week. For more campus and local news, visit our website at iustv.com.
And like us on social media. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter at IUSTV News.
From all of us here at IUSTV, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.